Welcome to the Finely Tuned Infrastructure Podcast, brought to you by Rhythmic Technologies.
Great to be here.
Today we're tackling something a lot of companies bump into as they grow, scaling infrastructure.
Oh, yeah. It's a classic growing pain.
And specifically that moment when someone says, we need a DevOps hire.
Right. Seems logical.
But we're looking at a piece from the blog by Rhythmic today that's really questions that. They call it the DevOps hire trap.
It's a really insightful take, actually. It suggests maybe hitting pause before making that hire.
Exactly. It's not just about avoiding a bad hire. It digs into the real costs, the hidden pitfalls. It paints a picture of like an operational bottleneck just waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. The immediate thought is the salary, right? You budget, say, $150 for a DevOps engineer.
Seems straightforward enough.
But the blog points out, and this is key,
Mm-hmm.
the true annual cost isn't $150K.
No, not even close usually.
Once you add benefits, equipment, training, overhead, it balloons pretty fast. They estimate it's closer to $225,000.
That's a significant difference right off the bat.
Yeah, it is. But is it only about the money? Or does the blog suggest there are deeper issues here?
It's definitely more than just the sticker price. What's really interesting is how Rhythmic maps out the typical life cycle of that single hire.
Okay.
So months 1 to 3, they're onboarding, figuring things out, making, frankly, enormous lists of stuff to fix.
Right, the discovery phase.
Then months 4 to 6, that's kind of the honeymoon, some quick wins, things feel like they're improving, everyone's feeling good.
Progress.
But then month 7 onwards, that's where the trap springs. That one person, they become the bottleneck.
That's so.
Everything has to go through them. Need a new staging environment, talk to DevOps, production issue, DevOps, want to try a new cloud service, guess who?
The single point of failure.
Precisely. The very solution becomes the new problem.
Okay, so we've got the higher than expected cost and this operational bottleneck.
Hmm.
But the blog also talks about coverage, right? The
Yeah.
human limits.
Yeah, this is critical. You're paying that $225K, maybe more, for one person. That's 40 hours a week, theoretically.
Theoretically being the key word. Subtract meetings, vacation time, sick days.
Exactly. And the blog really hammers this point. What happens when they're deep into solving one complex problem and then an emergency pops up?
They can't just switch context instantly, especially with complex infrastructure.
Right. It's just not how deep work, works, and the risk there is huge.
Does the blog give an example?
It does, a really telling one. Some seemingly minor infrastructure tweaks get deployed on a Friday. Nobody really notices anything amiss over the weekend because, who's looking? Come Monday morning, thousands of dollars in surprise cloud costs, just like that.
Wow. And the point isn't that the person was bad at their job.
Not at all. The point the blog makes is that the system allowed it. It was a lack of coverage, a lack of checks and balances you get with a team. It was designed to fail eventually.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How many teams are set up that way without realizing the risk?
Way too many, probably.
So if hiring that one person is the trap, what's the way out? What does Rhythmic suggest instead?
They talk about managed services, but they're careful to define what real managed services look like. It's not just staff augmentation, getting a remote pair of hands.
Okay, so what are the key differences?
Full ownership is a big one. Something breaks at 3 a.m., they own it, they fix it, you sleep.
That sounds appealing.
Then there's team coverage. You're not relying on one person's skill set. You get access to specialists, Kubernetes experts, database gurus, security folks. No more single point of failure.
Right, accessing a whole bench of experts.
And importantly, advisory is often included. You can ask those bigger architectural questions, do capacity planning without watching the clock for hourly billing.
That's a big deal. Strategic advice without the meter running.
And finally, aligned incentives. Their goal should be to prevent problems, to keep things stable and efficient because that's how they succeed too, not just reacting to fires.
Proactive, not just reactive.
Okay.
So this reframes the whole build versus buy decision.
Completely. The typical path Rhythmic sees is first, internal teams try to just figure it out.
Yeah, the duct tape phase.
Then they make the DevOps hire, hit the bottleneck. Then they realize they need a whole team.
Which gets very expensive very fast.
Right. So Rhythmic's proposal is, what if you could skip those painful middle steps? Go straight to having an experienced team managing your infrastructure.
And how do the numbers stack up, according to the blog?
They give figures for a typical, say, 20 to 50 person SaaS company. That in-house hire we talked about, $225K to $300K total annual cost. You get 40 hours a week, maybe. Takes 3-6 months to get them fully productive.
And a high turnover risk. You mentioned 18 months average.
Yeah, that's the industry churn. Now compare that to managed services. The blog suggests costs around $8 to $15K a month. Annually, that's $96K to $180K.
Okay, significantly less than the single hire's true costs.
And you get 24/7 coverage from a full team. They're productive in weeks, not months. Plus, you have contractual SLAs, guarantees.
And that doesn't even count the cost of mistakes avoided.
Right.
Like a bad architecture choice or a security slip-up.
Exactly. Those can cost way more than the service itself.
Now, to be fair, the blog does say there are times when hiring in-house is the right move.
Oh, absolutely. It's not a one-size-fits-all argument. If infrastructure is your core product, if you need super deep customization that forms your IP.
Or if you're big enough for a dedicated internal platform team or have very specific compliance needs.
Right. In those cases, building internally makes sense. But for many, many companies, infrastructure is plumbing, necessary, vital, but not the business itself.
So for those companies, there might be a middle ground too.
Definitely. The blog mentions a hybrid approach. Rhythmic's clients often use them for the foundational stuff, the 24/7 monitoring, patching, incident response, the keeping the lights on work.
Okay.
And that frees up the company's internal engineers, maybe SREs or platform engineers, to focus purely on application-specific automation, developer tooling, things that directly speed up feature delivery and differentiate their product.
So you get the best of both worlds. Solid foundation, 204/7 coverage, plus internal innovation.
That's the idea. Leverage experts for the critical but undifferentiated heavy lifting.
Makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you for joining us and walking through this perspective from Rhythmic.
My pleasure. It's an important conversation to have.
So the final thought, really, from the blog isn't just, should we hire DevOps?
No, the real question is, what's the fastest, most reliable, most cost-effective way to get the infrastructure capabilities our business actually needs? Sometimes that's a hire, but maybe, just maybe, it's not the default anymore.
Something to think about. Oh, and just casually mentioning, this content was generated using AI.
And if you want to read the original article that inspired this chat, head over to rhythmictech.com. They've got more insights there.